Hi everyone, I've got Rob Kirby back with me from California, and I'm in New South Wales, Australia. So, Rob, we've talked about a number of things about communication. We've talked about trust. We've talked about emotional states like anger, and now today we're talking about safety and how important it is to feel safe when you're talking with your partner, how important it is to be able to express yourself. So I just share this quickly with everyone about safety. So today we're talking about safety. When do couples feel they are safe in a relationship? What happens to make them feel unsafe? So look, it seems obvious, but we still do the mistakes. What's happening underneath that? If you feel that you can create an environment that the person feels threatened and still think that you can influence them, what's happening in our mind to make us think this? And obviously, when it isn't safe, most people result to fighting back, defending themselves, through abuse, whatever it is. Flight, I just want to get out of here. Let's just agree with them, going into fawn, or just freezing, not saying anything, trying to just regulate their emotions and minimize the impact. And look, we also, safety is to do with, look at, if a woman has had sexual abuse in their childhood, in previous relationships, a man shouting them is really going to trigger them, right? So all these things are to do with safety. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Rob,
Okay,
safety in relationships.
thanks, Sha. Well, yes, I agree. Safety is very important because we can really bond deeply our hearts when we both feel safe. So I think it's essential. Women are more vulnerable about sharing their hearts, that they don't feel safe. Men, can put a wall up, and they're not typically as vulnerable in their sharing by saying, I don't feel safe with you. That's more women. They don't have the ego structure that men have, so they can just come right out and say it, which is healthy. Um, I think, but male or female, man or woman, a peaceful heart is such a wonderful bridge between two people, and I think a lot of it has to do with our conditioning, historical things, but there's things that we can do every day. Exercises, breathing, so we can have coherence as opposed to incoherence in the heart, in the brain, in the body. So the nervous system is affected. If we as a child were anxious a lot, fearful of the family dynamic, tiptoeing around one or both parents, then the nervous system tends to be more toward the sympathetic, which you said earlier is fight or flight.
Gotcha.
And it's, if we could spend more of our life in the parasympathetic, which is more of a, to me, relaxed, peaceful heart. And as you know, I've for years have called this coherence 1, 2, 3, heart, brain, and body. And it's such a beautiful thing in that state because we can really give over and love another person and be transparent that I love you. I've had other important relationships, including my family of origin, that I've loved, but nobody do I love like you. And so you're not going to say that if you don't feel safe. If you think your partner's checking out other people or has 1 foot in, 1 foot out, well, you're not going to feel safe because, it's not very human, is it? You're just overriding reality. So both people have to be interested in the other person's safety. So guess what? Did you have a lot of support as a child to go after, to follow your heart? Or did you feel abandoned all the time because the parents kept threatening you or each other? I'm leaving. You keep this up, you bitch, or you prick. I'm out of here. But children grow up hearing that. They don't feel safe. If I can't trust my own parents, how could I trust anybody? I mean, forever. So they're stuck in that. It's like there's a knife in their heart. They're so heartbroken. And, many people have this, not necessarily with both parents. They could be very supported by the mother or the father, or they could feel very supported by both. That would be ideal, wouldn't it? But typically there's some element of it where there's some feeling of betrayal, hurt, abandonment. You're not going to be there in the long run for me. You're going to run off with someone else, or dad's going to end up at the pub most of the nights because mom is so moody, or whatever he calls her. And so this happens so frequently, and many people just stay together for convenience or for the kids or whatever, but there's no love there. So if you want to feel safe in a way that you're not going to duplicate what happened with your mom and dad, you're going to be a wonderful role model for your kids. How does a man love a woman? How does a woman love a man? And in order for people to do that, they have to do some deep work, don't they? You just can't read a book and it happens. It's ridiculous. You can get good insights from reading a book or taking a relationships course online. You get valuable information, but most of us need very deep healing. And we had talked about that earlier. There's wonderful things that people can do at different levels on their journey. And you want that inner child to feel loved by you. So literally, Sha, you become the mother and father for little Sha,
Got you.
and myself for little Rob inside. And you hold them when they're scared, and you say, it's okay. It's okay. It's not like all those years ago. Right here, right now, I'm with you. I love you.
You're reparenting yourself. You're going back there
Yeah.
and giving everything you didn't have, and creating that secure attachment. People have got insecure attachments or anxious attachments,
Yeah.
and it's going to show in the relationship. So what you're saying is, let's go back, reparent ourselves, so we can, present that to our partner.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so
Fantastic.
I guess, with safety as well, if your partner, you can see the symptoms, if your partner doesn't feel safe, they're just typically avoiding you, they're keeping things secret, they don't feel they can be honest because they're
Yeah.
getting, abused, they're getting judgment, they're getting all these blame. At the end of the day, safety is so important. Can you tell us a bit about the connection at the start around safety?
Yes. Of course, one of the things is that if this couple decides to go to therapy, that's just beyond talk therapy, right? That they're willing to look at the energy between them and what's going on in their nervous system, in their body energy. I mean, really going for it. Couples who do that, they can sit there in front of the therapist and say to their life partner, "I've never loved a person more than you, but I don't feel safe around you because you're not there, you're not present. You come home from work, you have dinner, and you just you know watch TV, or you're looking at your phone, and I feel like you'd rather be somewhere else. I hope I'm wrong, but that's how I feel. I don't feel safe with you, and you seem distracted, and maybe it has nothing to do with me, but I can't live like this anymore. I want to feel safe. I want to feel seen. I want to feel heard. I want to be listened to. I want to feel respected about what's going on in my life, what happened to me today, with the kids or at work, or whatever the case may be, or kids and work. um, and so I think it has to start with a discussion, and then if there's a therapist who understands this stuff at a deeper level, he or she can brilliantly help you come up with a plan. What's our safety plan? Because we can't, no matter how much therapy you do, no matter how much shadow work you do, if you don't have a container of safety that each other communicates with, it's not going to last very long. You know what I mean? You might
Right.
come home excited from the therapy session, or maybe a workshop you attended, but guess what? 2, 3 weeks later, it'll be right back to ground zero. That we're just not connecting on a day-to-day basis in a loving way, in a safe way.
Got you. So
Yeah.
the thoughts that are coming through to couples, what I'm getting is that the relationship isn't going to last because I'm not getting what I want. I can't even see a future here. I can't even dream about, what what
Exactly.
it's going to look like. I'm thinking about, rather than, us retiring together and going on holidays and enjoying the kids and that, I'm thinking about, oh God, I'm going to be a single parent. I'm going to have to get another place to live.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to the finances? All these stories are starting to appear
It's
in your mind.
overwhelming. And, and,
Exactly.
and of course, in today's world, it's more common to be in this situation because, like, I don't mean to be critical of, let's say the man or the woman, the husband or the wife is sitting there and they're split off, in Never Never Land. Um, I don't mean to put them down, make them a bad person. They probably really are stressed about what's going on in the world, how it affects, the dynamics in their business and the cost of living going up and all these different things. Yeah, but they have to look over and say to their sweetheart, I'm scared. I'll always protect you. I'll always be here. My heart is with you, but I'm distracted. It's not about you. Please don't think that I want you to feel unsafe or that I'm dismissing you. I'm just not coping. So this is the kind of, remember I said a drop of humility gives you that vulnerability to share. I agree. You're absolutely right. I'm not present. And then if you come with that sharing, then you don't have to get defensive. You're always bitching. Like that never helps. When does that help? But when people are stressed, they just react. They snap. You know.
Got you.
So
They're in the fight or flight
yeah,
already, and that's the symptoms you're saying. They're snapping at me all the time. That it must be something me. They must hate this relationship.
yeah,
Got you. Got you.
yeah.
Tell us a bit
Well,
more,
we're
Rob.
just human, so we take it personal. But in many instances, it's not about you.
Got you. Got you. And look, definitely, if your partner has these characteristics, or even if you're feeling these things, then safety doesn't exist. You're not in your heart space, like you mentioned, and the communication. It's almost like we keep saying, if you start off harshly, if you start off in a place of fear or fight, it's going to end up in a fight, right? It's going to end up you trying to avoid your partner. So, let's understand why there isn't safety in the relationship. How can we, keep it safe when we're talking about things, and, establish, what the future is going to look like, how we can keep building towards that. Um, and again, we look at past relationships, what's causing the fear, and the self-sabotaging beliefs, like you mentioned before. Am I good enough? Am I lovable? All this sort of work. So thanks for talking about safety with us today,
Absolutely.
Rob.
Oh, it's very rich conversation. Thanks, Shaw.
Speak to you soon.